Welcome to the Roto Joe's Fantasy Football Podcast. It is time. First, love, hate. We're throwing in some new things. First, Caden, the tables have turned. Your team lost in college football, but boy, them Hawks are coming. KU won the Big 12 game against West Virginia. This is a monumental occasion for us KU fans. We're 2-0. When's the last time KU was 2-0 in football? What? Ridiculous. So,
I'm sure you can get that
Daniel
stat.
Kansas's quarterback's going to win the Heisman. Lonnie Felch Jr., Defensive Player of the Year. Easy money. I'm just giving you guys free betting tips here because them Hawks are coming. We want Bama. We beat you guys last year. Oh, fuck Bama up.
Okay. Okay.
So,
this is more games than you guys have won in a whole year in like 15 years.
We put up 55. Final score 55-42. Them Hawks won. That's all that matters. So, we're going to move right in and talk about a little news. We had Rams versus Bills. The Rams got obliterated. Their line, it looked like a team full of second graders. Caden, do you have any takeaways from that game?
I mean, just they've got to address the offensive line. They clearly have an issue there. It was very much exploited. I mean, Whitworth was like, 40-something years old last year, and him not being there is a bigger problem than I think they anticipated. I was talking to you about it, and I just said, hey, I mean, there's got to be a situation, Les Snead will trade every motherfucking pick they have, and that's probably what they need to get on the bandwagon and doing. Because right now, they barely looked like a playoff team last night. I mean, they had flashes, but they, all in all, got their fucking shit wrecked by Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious about what we see out of that line moving forward. Something I wanted to touch on is, guys, let's calm down on Allen Robinson. I don't know if you've seen this, Caden. There's a Twitter message of every route he ran. I cannot say in words how open this man was, play after play after play after play. So don't jump into the lazy take of, same Allen Robinson as last year. Shit, go try to buy low. I still think there's a wide receiver 2 season in him. I still think he's going to be a high-level option week to week. It might take a couple weeks, so I'm probably not starting him until maybe week 3, week 4, and maybe not against good pass rushes. But I still think something is there.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the entire game. He was wide open a lot, and there's two problems that go with that. Is the Rams line just couldn't stop them long enough for Matt Stafford to see he was open, and problem two is he's never going to be the first read. He's never going to. I mean, that's just Stafford's got to have enough time to say, okay, Cooper Kupp's covered. On a rare fucking occasion, Cooper Kupp's covered. Because I don't know why. I watched it all over the fucking place.
For 2 years.
Don't know how he gets open every other play, pretty much, but he really is.
Yeah, there were some plays Thursday night that, I mean, just like what you said, why aren't we covering him? No one wants to cover him. But yeah, I'm saying call on Allen Robinson. Everything else, like Gabe Davis, I saw Gabe Davis truthers taking some victory laps, and that's cool and all. He got a 16% target share. He's a good flex play. Like, I had him at wide receiver 45, which would mean he's a good flex play in good matchups, but I'm probably avoiding him in some games. And I think some people are probably going to fall into the trap of overvaluing Gabe Davis. I wouldn't do that. Diggs is the dude there.
Sell high, yeah. And Diggs fucking cooked Jalen Ramsey, and that was fun to watch. I mean,
I love
holy shit.
I love Diggs. He's awesome.
Good.
All right. So, moving on. This is going to be a part of every love-hate show. We're going to do our Roto Joe certified locks. These are betting lines picks that we are just locking into place, taking them, hitting them, just take home the money. It's an easy pick. So, Caden, your first lock. We have Jaguars going up against the Commanders under 44.5 total points.
Yeah. I'm not a believer in the Carson Wentz era of the, I guess, Commanders. Still sounds weird to say. I kind of see this as being a little more lopsided than that. I'm going to go like a 21-10 kind of game, low scoring. They actually both have halfway decent defenses. I don't think either team's really going to run up the score. So for me, that's a pretty easy under. I really like that line. For some reason, it just stuck out to me. But yeah, Carson Wentz he isn't the dude. I mean, he's not the dude anymore. And if anybody knows how to game plan against Carson Wentz, guess who it is? Doug Peterson.
Yeah, I have absolutely no hope at all in a Carson Wentz that doesn't have Jonathan Taylor or the Colts offensive line or the Colts coaching staff. This is a significant downgrade for him everywhere. And I think it's going to really show. He's going to play a lot of hero ball. I almost guarantee we'll see a lot of just classic stupid Carson Wentz moments Sunday. Because
yeah,
he's going to be out there trying to prove a point. So I'm with you. I think under 44.5 is a good pick. I also like Jaguars plus. I've seen 3. I've seen 2.5. I'll take whichever. I take them +1. Honestly, I have them winning that game outright. So if you can get some Jaguar dog picks, do that. My first lock. I have Ravens -7 against the New York Jets, who are taking the Ravens side of the spread. The Ravens, in their last 5 week ones, so dating back to 2017, 2018, they're 4-1. Their only loss was last year when they had all those injuries like a week before the season hit. I remember I was really high on Gus Edwards, and then he tore his ACL like 3 days before the season. Besides last year's week 1, their average week 1 margin of victory was 36.5 in those 4 wins. They come out right out of the gate wanting to show that they are going to be a good team. It's something that Harbaugh, you see it in the preseason too. They're undefeated in preseason in the last 4 or 5 years in that same span. And I think that's something that just carries over. Those guys are ready to play. They're competitive. And Lamar's trying to get paid. I think every game is a statement game. And the Ravens fucked up not re-signing him. And I tweeted this. That contract's going to get a lot more expensive. They might have thought they were talking Russell Wilson money. They're going to be talking Mahomes money with the Watson guarantee after the year he's about to have.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I could also see an avenue where it gets really sticky. I mean, because they could tag him. I know NFL players don't really like that, but it's still a part of the game, part of the business. They're not going to just let him walk. So that really throws into play a really different scenario where, maybe they tag him and trade him. We've seen weird. Huh?
I bet he'd hold out.
I bet he would too. I mean, I see the player side of it where it's an injury thing, and I get all that, and but yeah, it's going to be expensive for him either way. I feel like, but yeah, stupid easy line. I can't believe it's just 7 points. But
I got that before Wilson was announced to be out. I'm sure. Actually, I have FanDuel up. While I talk, I'll see what's going on with that. So I got that before Wilson's injury, him being out was announced. I'm sure some people expected it. Actually, the line movement has moved closer towards the Jets. We have +6 or -6.5 now. So the line's 6.5, which I think is interesting. The Jets' average marginal loss last year without Zach Wilson was 22 points. And
I think that. Yeah.
Their left tackle's out too, Dwayne Brown. Their second left tackle
is now out.
So Mekhi Becton's out. He's out. They're already having injury issues. I think it's going to be a very Jetsy year. Your next lock, we have Saints -5.5 going down to Atlanta.
Yeah, I love that line, and the simple fact is, Saints are good, Falcons aren't. I don't know how else to really lay that out. I'm really excited to see the Saints this year. They're kind of one of those sleeper teams for me. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I think there's an avenue in which they could maybe sneak into the playoffs and win a game. I think Jameis Winston's going to be a lot better than everybody thinks, and I think the Falcons' defense is still bad. I don't think they really did anything to help themselves. 5.5 points, easy for me. I'd probably take that same bet at 10 points. Maybe even 14. No, I probably wouldn't. I'd take that Baltimore bet at 14.
Yeah, if the odds were good enough, I think I'd entertain it too.
Yeah.
Shit, they're gonna beat the dog. I'm telling you, Lamar's coming out trying to get paid, dude. That's generational wealth.
Yeah.
That is family changing money he is playing for. You're gonna be able to tell. I have a lot of Saints minus 5.5. In terms of my betting plays this weekend and my parlays and whatnot, they're fully healthy. I mean, Michael Thomas was limited at practice. How much of that is just being safe, and how much of that is real? I can't answer that. It's been 2 years. You have to assume that the guy's healthy, or at least very close to it. I also agree. I think Jameis is going to be really good, and he is coming off right now.
I had Michael Thomas on his wide receiver 1 season, and he was fucking limited or questionable every goddamn week. So that's just what he does.
Normal. I think Winston's going to be really good. He is coming off the ACL, but the way he plays quarterback, I really don't think it matters. And come on now, we've all seen the guy work out. Like, he's going to be fine. Personal favorite of mine, Jameis Winston. Yeah, I just have the Saints. I mean, Saints easily by a touchdown. Maybe a little more. My last lock on the day or night is going to be Tampa Bay and Dallas going over 50.5 points. Cowboys have lost major contributors to the defensive line. Sure, they still have Micah Parsons. Diggs, when they're playing a Tom Brady-led team, the shit that Diggs doesn't even make me think twice. Like, Brady's not going to fall for that stupid-ass shit. He just jumps passes, and Brady's going to be able to either avoid it or fool him. It's Tom Brady. Tampa Bay, 11 to 17 games, over 28 points last year, and they were second in the NFL in points per game. Dallas, 32 points per game last year, first in the NFL. Both of these teams are high scoring. Tampa Bay front seven is not going to let Zeke or Pollard do much, so it's going to have to be a passing game. And I'm really confident that both teams, or at least one team, will go over 30 and one will go over 20. Brady might be looking to make a statement. There's been a lot of noise around Brady, a lot of noise, and I'm wondering if he's going to want to shut everyone up.
Could be. I think that if I had to pick a highest scoring game of the week, that's probably the one that I would go with. I really liked the Arizona-Kansas City game, but Ronaldo Moore is out. I think Marquise Brown is probably going to see fucking 40 targets. Him and Zach Ertz are really about all that's left.
Ertz might be out.
Oh.
I think Ertz is out. I'll check as we talk. Free game. Go put Hollywood Brown in your DFS lineups. He's only like $6,700 on FanDuel. I don't like it. I don't like doing that, but I will partake when it's free. And they gave out a free $10 for the NFL season. Yeah, I have a lot of Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood. I mean, there's a potential that AJ Green's a thing, but man, I just think he's a little bit too far past his prime to be that guy. I think he really fits in good in that third wide receiver, everybody else is covered type of thing. But yeah, that would have been a game that I would have thought would have scored the highest. But yeah, I easily pretty much pivot to that Tampa Bay game.
Yeah, it's a favorite of mine. Ertz practice limited on Friday. It's still up in the air. They said he might be on a snap count. So it's something to pay attention to if you have Ertz. Tight end can be pretty rough, but yeah.
That target share is going to be nasty when that comes
When
out.
he's in, yeah, he's gonna be a top 10 option. He was probably one of my favorite values. I never drafted him because if it's tight end premium, I'm gonna go get like Dalton Schultz. If it's not tight end premium, I'm gonna wait my happy ass all the way to the end of the draft and grab David Njoku. So I didn't get a lot of Ertz, but I did like it.
I did every single draft that I went into this offseason, I came out with Dalton Schultz every fucking time. And I didn't realize it until after the last one was over. And I don't hate it. I mean, I don't, but I just thought that was really odd. Dalton Schultz, and more times than not, Irv Smith really, really late. Just the way it worked out.
That's not bad. So moving on, we have your parlay of the week. So again, just Sunday slate games. You went straight single game parlay. I actually really liked yours. So you have a Lamar anytime touchdown, cannot be a passing touchdown. Andrews anytime touchdown. And then the Baltimore money line and the Ravens scoring over 20.5 points. You get plus 425 odds. So if you bet 100, you'd win 425 on top of it.
That seems like I mean, I like Lamar anytime touchdown probably more than anybody in the league. Him and Josh Allen, that's pretty much more times than not that's going to happen. But J.K. Dobbins is probably out. He's Gus Edwards still out. I don't even know Justice Hill. That's probably what they're rolling at running back.
Kenyon Drake and Mike Davis.
Oh yeah, still doesn't matter. I bet you Lamar runs it in. I think there's something to be said about the contract thing, and I think he's going to go out there and do it. Mark Andrews, he's the number one receiver on that team. Real easy play there. Baltimore to win, money line. That's all you're betting there. Real sad day if they don't, but I don't see that happening. I don't think Joe Flacco's revenge game is really gonna happen. And then what was the last part of that? Oh, over 20.5. So essentially 21 or more points at 425. I mean, that's a great bet. You talk about betting 100, take away 425 on something that is more likely to happen than not. And that's where it comes to those parlays is you just really got to add that extra fluffer stuff. You know, I think the odds were real low until I added the over 20.5, and then it jumped way up there. So, I mean, the more you can add on to it, the better, especially if it's because here's the deal. Lamar scores a touchdown. Andrew scores a touchdown. I'm already pretty much, I'm already to 14 points. So some of those things like coincide, like I'm trying to find the right way to explain it. You're not going to hit one without pretty much hitting the other. So, 14 points isn't a mercy point. Neither's 21. No. And if you're Lamar Jackson, it doesn't exist this week, I don't think.
No, and I know exactly what you're trying to say with like when you build a parlay, you want to add things onto your parlay that makes sense within it. Like if thing X happens, then
yes.
Y is going to happen.
Yeah. I would call it stacking, but I don't know the right terminology for it.
Yeah, Kansas just has legalized sports betting. We're still learning the terms. I'm there too. My parlay of the week. I like yours a lot. I'm all about that Ravens game. I love the Lamar anytime touchdown. The Andrews anytime touchdown. He is by far the leading receiving weapon. And Baltimore money line, I've already talked about. Ravens -7 being one of my favorite bets, so that's awesome. And then I almost guarantee that the Ravens are going to go over 20.5 points. That would be like the most sure thing on it.
Yeah.
Well, other than the money line. So my parlay of the week, it contains 3 different games. And it actually has a couple good examples of what you're talking about. Stacking your bets so that you get better odds, but it still makes sense. Ravens -7, talked about it earlier. Jets under 28.5 points. I just don't see them scoring more than 4 touchdowns at all against a good Ravens defense. Baltimore over 26.5 points. Baltimore is pretty much full strength outside of the running back position on offense. They've talked about how they're wanting to come out like they did in 2019. Lamar's trying to get paid. I think they're going to put up a crazy amount of points tomorrow. Then, moving on to the second little group of game in this parlay, or the second little group of legs in this parlay, separate game though, I have the Colts money line. 62-3 was the score in the last two games of Houston, Indianapolis. So, like the Colts money line there, I think they got a lot better with Matt Ryan. Houston's improved, but not in a meaningful way yet. It's going to take a couple of years for that to show. And then I also have, in that same game, Jonathan Taylor over 74.5 rushing yards. He's rushed for 135, 95, 158, and 143 in 4 career games versus the Texans. So he might as well be the mascot. Next game, next set of legs, Titans money line, and then Derrick Henry over 79.5 rushing yards. That's a plus 430. Honestly, I mean, I don't know if I kind of like yours better. It's a little more condensed. Mine's a little lengthy. However, I like the odds of mine hitting too. I feel like I'm pretty comfortable with that. I'll take the two best running backs in the league rushing for over 70 yards, essentially.
I could see either one of those guys hitting that mark in the first quarter. So I think that's especially the Derrick Henry one, because the Giants lost any meaningful defensive play that they have outside of the rookie they just got. But I don't give that's Derrick Henry's a whole lot of dudes. So yeah, kind of lengthy. I like that one too. Good odds for something that's, in my opinion, more likely to happen than not. And that's really what you bank on. Nothing's guaranteed. We just saw, college football today. Appalachian State beat Texas A&M. So,
them Hawks beat West Virginia.
Okay. Yeah, that happened too, I guess.
Hey, what's Texas's record?
1-1, but there's a little asterisk next to it. And if
I'm not in the business of these moral victories anymore. Record says it all, 2-0. Kayvon Thibodeau is doubtful, so he might not even play. I think Derrick Henry is going to fucking just obliterate them. It's going to be a classic Derrick Henry game. And people have been doubting him. I saw a video from Yahoo Sports where he was just talking about how like the fantasy community is doubting him. And I bet he has that on like a little bulletin board, not the fantasy community, but like actual NFL writers. I'm sure he's heard a little bit of that he's getting old. And there's a big difference between these mediocre running backs who fall off at 28 and a Derrick Henry who's 250. And he hits people more than he gets hit.
Yeah, I've personally seen too many people just get out of the way for me to think that there's any sort of decline. I mean, that says a lot. I've also
really
watched this guy's workouts. You ever seen this guy's workouts? They're unfucking believable. So yeah, I don't think there's any real worry there. Honestly, I didn't end up. I think I did take Derrick Henry in one league, but I think it was like a Scott Fishbowl type of thing where I got him in the second. But I generally never had a high enough pick to even really consider it. But I'd be more comfortable with him than Christian McCaffrey, really. If I was stuck at the second pick and couldn't get Jonathan Taylor, it would probably be Derrick Henry. So, yeah, and I mean he's different. That's all you can say about that. And barring another injury, he's probably going to be at least the rushing champ of the year. He's just too good.
Yeah. I hear a lot of noise that Nick Chubb's the best like pure runner in the league. Derrick Henry is, and until he falls off, he just is. He would either top or came really fucking close to topping 1,000 yards last year in like 8 games. It's ridiculous. He's so good. And there's no pass game. There's no AJ Brown this year. They're gonna have to run the shit out of the ball. And Yeah, I think Henry's going to be awesome this year. He's going to smash. Moving on, it's time. First edition in the 2022 season of our Love Hate. We're changing it up a little bit this year because we want to do the betting content. We feel like that's good. It also ropes in a lot of fantasy stuff as well. We're only going to do 2 loves, 2 hates, and they're not necessarily tied to any positions. There's so much of this like love hate content out, whether it be articles, podcasts, like whatever. I don't think we felt like beating a dead horse was that helpful. So we're not going to do like a full hour length thing on it, but we'll dedicate 30, 35 minutes on each of these for just love hate stuff. So your first love of the week, you have Aaron Jones going up against Minnesota.
One thing I really like this week, Aaron Jones. I've been on the Aaron Jones bandwagon just about all year. But with Allen Lazard being out, it just makes it even better. There's a pretty clear path to him being the most targeted person on that team just because, I mean, they're going to roll out there with Randall Cobb, who I believe is 36 or so, 37. I mean, he's up there in age. Sammy Watkins, which week 1, Sammy, that's something different, but yeah, just not a whole lot of options. Rodgers has been pretty vocal in the media about not really trusting the young wide receivers if they even play. I think they're both injured to some degree, if I remember right. So receiving upside is going to be there for him in a game where, I really like the Vikings offense this year, but their defense is still what it is. I think Aaron Rodgers goes out there and does what he does. I mean, I think he tears them apart, and I think Aaron Jones, is right there in it.
Yeah, I like Aaron Jones a lot this week, too. I pulled up a fun stat. So last year, when Aaron Jones was targeted 5 or more times, he averaged 19.35 PPR points. When he was targeted under 5 times, he averaged 12.22 or 12.25 PPR points per game. So that's a pretty big gap. And I think that this game, 6 or 7 is the floor. You can see upwards of 8 or 9 targets. I really think Jones is going to be used well. I'm sure Dillon plays a lot, and I'm sure that Jones, maybe his goal line usage is like capped a little, but I have no issue with Aaron Jones this week. I have him in some DFS stuff. An anytime touchdown line for Aaron Jones would probably be a pretty decent look if you were looking to make any bets. So I like Aaron Jones a lot this week. My first love, I have Michael Carter going up against Baltimore. We talked about it earlier. The Jets are going to kill it probably. So that's going to be a very positive pass game script for Michael Carter. Coaching staff has been vocal. He's going to play. For sure, he's locked into the 3rd down role and at least a 4th of the carries. But I'm assuming it's probably more like half and half on the carries, with Carter getting most of the 3rd down work. Flacco is going to be more apt to check down over like a guy like Zach Wilson, who's young and athletic and just really doesn't think as well as a Joe Flacco does, and doesn't have some of those limitations that Flacco does. I'm also not sure. I'm just not sure how much. I'm not sure about the receiving corps still. Like, I like Elijah Moore, but I'm sure that's where Marlon Humphrey goes. I like the rookie Garrett Wilson, but he's a rookie. I like the guy he's Corey Davis. I like Corey Davis, but he's not really a number 1. Like, I'm kind of worried about how that's all going to work out. So I really do think Michael Carter has a really high potential floor in the pass game. And then who knows, he might fall into the end zone on a goal line carry or a carry close to the 1. So he's cheap in DFS. He's a good flex play. I like Carter this week.
You think the Jets are going to get to the Ravens 1?
Late.
Oh,
like I said,
after Huntley comes in?
To fall, and I said he would be lucky maybe.
So you mean after Huntley comes in and Lamar's on the bench? Because he hung 48 on him and it's only half of it.
He'll have his glasses.
No, Michael Carter, yeah, that's a good play. And I didn't think about it until you said it. the Ravens really, I mean, talent-wise, we obviously haven't seen them all play together yet, but they've got a pretty nasty secondary. I forgot about that until you just said it. So, yeah, I mean, they could very easily – I think Elijah Moore is the only one worth rostering unless you're in a real desperate situation. And that's probably one that I'd more look to sit on the bench this week because of the matchup. And sometimes I mean, if you're on the fence with I feel like Elijah Moore is like an on the fence starter. He's really boom some weeks. He's really bust some weeks. That matchup would pretty much take him out of a starting position for me.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I like Elijah Moore. I really do. But
and you know, Michael Carter was a guy that I picked up in a few drafts just because of how low he fell. Everybody thinks, I mean, here's the deal. Bryce Young doesn't have the draft stock, you know, that like I understood when everybody picked up, you know, Leonard Fournette, Zeke, all these guys that went super high in the draft. That all made sense, Saquon. But there's nothing that says Breece Hall couldn't be a free agent in 4 years. You know what I'm saying? They have no real commitment. I mean, second round pick is what it is, but it's not like he went first overall. And I think that's what people got to understand is you take Breece Hall in the 6th round. I got Michael Carter in the 10th. It's about the same as far as I'm concerned. It could really go either way. And I got less of a loss at the end of the day than you do.
Yeah, you know, Hall was the first running back off the board in a not very good running back class, I felt like.
Right. And Dameon Pierce is the RB1. So.
Exactly, yeah. Dameon Pierce is probably going to, after now that we have some foresight and saw James Cook's going to clearly be like a playoff play at best, and he might not even catch on this year. Dameon Pierce might be the RB1 for rookies. I think there's a relatively good chance of that. Breece Hall might not be in the top.
Yeah.
He's not going to be the alpha.
No, he's not. And James Cook hurt my heart the other night. I have a lot of James Cook.
I'm sure. So they used him kind of bad, not bad, but I felt like, oh no, he's a running back. You can't be like, oh, I don't know why they let him run the ball, but I would have preferred him on some passing down snaps, maybe.
I saw them like Devin Singletary a whole lot more than I do, and that's what I saw in that game. I was like, we're still doing this. And, I mean, he looked better than he has, but still not, I don't think, a really good fit. Yeah.
He's a guy. He could go and if he went to even the Rams, let's say the Rams. If he went to the Rams right now, he would be the third
back. And Cam Akers, the second back, didn't even.
Cam Akers is bad. He's certified bad. He looked like shit. I don't care about the soft tissue thing. He looked bad. It confirmed what we saw last year. He looked bad.
I just don't understand. It's been 6 months. I mean, even 6 months longer, poor rehab. I don't know. Something's going on there.
That's an Achilles. All right. Your next love. Trey Lance versus Chicago.
Oh, yeah. I just think this is a good we're probably past the point of calling Trey Lance a streamer, but if you waited on quarterback, this is a good week for him. Bears defense isn't good. I think this is going to be a game where there's a good enough game script for him to take out and run a few times. I think his rushing upside is really what I'm looking at here. We don't really know how good he is as a passer, but, I think the opportunity will be there. The Bears are imploding on defense, especially. Their only real defensive player worth a shit wants out or wanted out, maybe doesn't want out anymore. Don't really know, but they're a team going through an identity crisis, and I think Shanahan's going to pull out the old bag of tricks and really utilize him well, especially in this game. And I think it'll give us a good opportunity to see what he looks like in actual game. A good one to start with. He's not, playing the damn Bills or anything. So definitely like the matchup for that reason, especially the rushing portion of it.
Yeah, I like Lance a lot versus Chicago. Like you said, it's a great way to start off his first year as a maybe full-time starter. Maybe if he plays bad.
Maybe franchise quarterback.
Yeah, we don't really know. It sounds like Kyle still wanted Mac Jones, but hey, maybe Trey Lance has such a wide range of outcomes, and that's why it's harder. He might be not the next Patrick Mahomes, but like a tier down, or he might be Jordan Love. We just don't know. We really don't. But Chicago is a weak defense. Khalil Mack's gone. Akeem Hicks is gone. There's just no pass rush potential at all. I think Lance is going to be involved in the run game a lot. It's going to help him settle into his first not real NFL start, but like his first start as a full-time starter. A little bit worried about maybe the 49ers being like super run heavy, but since he can also run, that mitigates that more than like how it would affect Jimmy Garoppolo. But yeah, I love the rushing upside here. I'm sure, it's pretty likely he probably runs in a touchdown, rushes for 40, 50 yards. And then if he throws for like 180, 200, you're happy. It's a good day. So, like Trey Lance also, my last love of week 1 is going to be Christian Kirk going up against the Commanders. Last year, Trevor's number 1, whether that be Marvin Jones, Treadwell, Agnew, were right around 6 to 8 targets a game. Kirk is vastly better than all of those guys. The Commanders don't have a very good secondary. I think Trevor's coming out trying to make a statement after his first losing season, probably in his life, and hearing that he's not really that good and that Mac Jones is the best quarterback in the 2021 class. Doug Peterson's going to help him get there. Kirk's going to help him get there. He got paid like a number 1. He's played well before. He had 2 wide receiver 3 seasons in Arizona, a couple like wide receiver 4-5 seasons, but he produced when there was bad quarterback play, when Hopkins and Ertz were there, like he produced around all these circumstances. I think he's better than a lot of people give him credit for, and he's an explosive guy who will finally be able to take advantage of the arm strength that Trevor wants. I love Kirk. I think he's going to be like a low-end wide receiver 2, high-end wide receiver 3 when it's all said and done. I think he's a really good play this week. They're going to utilize the shit out of him and Evan Ingram, but Kirk's a guy that if you're kind of on the fence with flex options, I would flex him, no issue.
Yeah, Kirk, I think a lot of people get a bad thought just because of his contract, and good for him. He went out and got paid. There's no way around it. He got paid more than he should have, but he also went from, people got to realize this. These guys are going from Super Bowl contending teams to the worst team in the league last year, if you look at the record. So I think a lot of that comes into play with contracts. I like Kirk. I like him just about the range you said, probably low-end wide receiver 2, high-end wide receiver 3 by the time it's all said and done. And you look around, and that's really him and Ingram and ETN are probably the best passing players on that team. I don't see an avenue where he doesn't get the shit targeted out of him. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for him, and he did well. Every now and then I got burned by Christian Kirk on somebody else's fantasy team. I'd look and the fucker has like 35 points, and I'm like, what happened? Who is this person? And yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence will be good. Only thing I disagree with is Davis Mills was the best quarterback from that draft class, but we'll go ahead and let that one slide.
He might be the second best, but I like Davis Mills. I see some potential. I do.
Daddy Mills.
He was a top 5 recruit coming out of high school. So it's not like
Number
he didn't have
one. Number one.
That's what. Yeah, I just didn't want to misquote that. Yeah, he has pedigree. That's the deal. People make fun of him. He went that low because of his injuries. But he could have done all right.
He went into the worst situation. If he would have waited a year, he'd have been the number one quarterback in this draft.
Quentin
went
Nelson
into-
signs an $80 million contract extension. But it's 4
Who?
years. Quentin Nelson.
Oh, good. Yeah, pay that man. Yeah, that's
Sorry.
that's Jonathan Taylor's boy. You got to pay that man.
Good.
He is damn good. But yeah, so bad situations. I mean, the guy was doomed the second he got in there. He had a respectable rookie season. I mean, there were some issues. I think he really started catching on towards the end of the year. I'm excited. I think he's gonna do the damn thing.
Yeah. $20 million a year guaranteed. No, 15. He got 60 million guaranteed over 4, 80 million as like a top end. That's pretty good for a guard. 15 million guaranteed is pretty good.
He's worth every damn penny too.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I don't make dudes like that guy. I mean, yeah, that's
Worth the money.
every penny.
The Colts might. I mean, I don't think they're there yet, but they're a little sleeper Super Bowl contender. Them and the Saints. They're my two like sleeper could come out of nowhere and kind of contend for something.
I still think the Titans win that division though. I just think the Derrick Henry run all over everybody every game thing is predictable, but it still works. So that's kind of my disconnect with the whole thing. I'm like, yeah, the Colts are going to be okay, but Derrick Henry's still going to run all over everybody, and there's nothing anybody can do. Everybody knows it. It's been 3-4 years now of this happening. Everybody knows. Doesn't matter what formation they line up in. More times than not, Derrick Henry's gonna go right through the fucking middle and take 9 fucking defensive players with him. He's like the Cooper Kupp of running backs. Everybody knows it's going to him, and no one can do anything about it.
He's so fast too. It's so fun to watch him run because, like, once he gets past the second level, you're not catching him. If you do, you're gonna get stiff armed halfway down the fucking field.
Like, tackling Derrick Henry is one thing, but once the dude builds up a little bit of momentum, holy shit, that's like a fucking brick wall running right at you. I mean, he's taken grown men and thrown them 7-8 yards back. Like, and those grown men had to go home and eat dinner with their families after that. That's the thing that gets me. Josh Norman, I mean, that was like one of the best stiff arms I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
he sent that dude into a different zip code. Poor bastard was just there. I bet he wishes he was on the other side.
Moving on to hates, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown going up against the Eagles tomorrow.
Let me tell you, I'm pulling for the Lions. I really am. But this ain't the week for him, at least. Eagles, I think, don't blame me if I get the stats wrong, but they were the second best against wide receivers last year. That was prior to adding James Bradbury, who is a very good corner that I think a lot of people forget about. They upgraded all over the defense. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I just don't think it's his week. Stingy defense, I think he's really outside of Hawkinson because Williams is out. They don't really have a whole lot of passing options. I think it's going to be a lot of DeAndre Swift. I think it's going to be, and I'm pulling for the Lions. I am. I think Dan Campbell's probably one of my favorite coaches, if not my favorite coach in the league. But ultimately, I don't think they win this game. And if they do, it's definitely not because Amon-Ra St. Brown ain't going to beat Darius Slay and James Bradbury. I mean, that's a nasty secondary. Now that before this, I sat down and looked at it, I was like, man, that's not bad. They got something cooking out there.
Yeah, it just sucks that Jalen Hurts is the quarterback.
Could have been Deshaun, but they didn't want to pay.
I bet they would have if they knew his ass would be able to play after 12 weeks.
I bet a lot of people would. Yeah.
They already have Jalen Hurts on a rookie quarterback contract. He could play for 11 weeks. All right. I agree. I'm not on the, I don't know. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown, but like, I'm not necessarily as high on him as some people. Like, his production came when Hawkinson and Swift were both out. Those guys
Right.
are both back. Insert DJ Chark, who I think is a better receiver. At some point, Jameson Williams is going to be there. Maybe not this year, but soon. I'm not super in on him. He's like the third or fourth passing option, probably most plays. He'll have some good games, but kind of like in that Gabe Davis territory. I think he's a little overhyped.
And he really reminds me a lot of Christian Kirk. Just in the play style, I think he's going to have that kind of role because I truthfully believe Jameson Williams will be back probably second half of the year. I think he went on PUP, but I think it's a potential he's back week 5. Yeah, I mean, I do like him. I think he was a little overvalued going into drafts. I think a lot of people took him way higher than I would have. That's probably why I don't have any. I don't have any St. Brown. Not to say I would hate it, but it didn't pan out that way for me. Yeah, I just don't think it's his week. I think that corner coverage is just a little too good, and Goff ain't the guy to be creative and make plays. So I think that's ultimately where they fall on that one.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't want to play him this week. All right, my first hate, same game, other side. I have A.J. Brown against the Detroit defense. This has absolutely nothing to do with Detroit even being kind of talented on the defensive side of the ball at all. However, I think the Eagles are of a talent and a play style that just because Detroit's going to play hard and be gritty, they're just not going to be able to keep up. And I think we're going to see a lot of running. I don't think Jalen Hurts is the guy that some people try to make him out to be. He's a great fantasy quarterback, but he's not a good thrower of the football. And, like, I don't think Lamar is an amazing thrower of the football, but Lamar's pretty fucking good at it. Better than probably every quarterback but, like, the top 13, 12. So, like, Lamar's up there. Jalen Hurts, he can't throw. He can't throw down the middle. He can't throw to the sides. Doesn't check down well because he's just going to run. He just is not a good throwing quarterback. A.J. Brown.
I mean, you look into it, and there's been replace Jalen Hurts rumors all over the place for a long time. That shit doesn't happen if you're good at being a quarterback.
No.
I mean, never ever in Rodgers' career has someone ever even
thought about
I mean, except for that time they drafted that quarterback in the first round. But no one has ever even thought to say replace Aaron Rodgers. So once you really look into it, yeah, he's inaccurate. I think his timing's bad. Because I also really question, because I see a lot of plays where Jalen Hurts just throws completely, like, not even in the same vicinity of a receiver, and then that makes me wonder. I'm like, okay, did the receiver run the wrong route, or did you run the wrong play? A lot of different things could go into that. But yeah, I'm with you anyway.
Jalen Hurts is not a great quarterback. A.J. Brown, I think he's limp. I mean, he might see, if it's a really good game, 6 targets? You know, like, you can't project him to have a crazy amount. I just don't think that's fair. I don't know. I'm not in on A.J. Brown this week. He's not. People make him out to be this, like, super elite wide receiver, and he's very talented. But he's had 2 seasons outside of the top 20 out of 3 in the year points per game scored, not total points scored, but points per game. I don't know. I didn't like him going into the draft season. I don't like him now. In games where they're going to be behind, I'd have no issue playing him. But in games where they're going to get up and just continue to run and run and run because they can't trust Jalen Hurts to not make mistakes, he's just not going to get the ball much.
Right. I agree. I agree. I think he was overvalued going into draft. I need to see a little bit more out of Jalen Hurts before I put him into the category that he was drafted as. I mean, because this guy was going late second, early third round, roughly in most drafts, and I don't have any AJ Brown because I kind of, I'm of the thought that you could get decent wide receiver value later, so I wasn't going to go on a gamble of a guy that I don't really know if he's going to perform. Ultimately, I think it might be a little bit better situation for him, but it's not a whole lot because, I mean, he doesn't have Derrick Henry taking 80% of the offensive snaps. But then you got to coincide that with he really somehow downgraded at quarterback. And I thought Ryan Tannehill was pretty bad last year, but I guess it does get worse.
Yes. Your next hate. We have Zeke going up against Tampa Bay.
I distinctly remember a game last year. I think it was week 1, week 2, where he just got absolutely fucking stuffed by Tampa Bay. Here's my thing. That hasn't changed. He's a year older. The Cowboys have injuries all over the offensive line. And I just think the game script's really going to take him out of this one. I mean, if he doesn't fall in the end zone in like the first quarter, it's going to be, I think, a whole lot more Tony Pollard than Zeke just because of the game script. And that's going to cause the Tony Pollard truthers to come out of nowhere. But it is just what it is. I mean, they've got to have a pretty negative game script for that to happen. But I would predict a better week for Tony Pollard than Zeke. I mean, Zeke's he's got a lot of miles on it. I mean, he does. And he's not built like Derrick Henry. They are not the same. I just think I think Zeke will end up having a good year because I think they're going to rely on him much more than they should. But this ain't the game, and it don't start till next week because he is going to get absolutely. Tampa's still got a great defensive, front seven. Not good for him. Not good. I don't like it at all. I mean, I think he did go as like a huge value in drafts where he was going like 4th-ish round, 5th round. Great value where you're getting him, but just to make other play, I'd rather start Dameon Pierce this week. I'd rather start a lot of guys over Zeke.
I agree. I like Zeke overall. I thought he was a good value too, but not this game. Last year, he had 11 carries and 2 catches and total 39 yards. So 13 opportunities for 39 yards. That's not good. So yeah, I'm not playing him anywhere. I don't even have him anywhere, but if I did have him somewhere, well. My last hate. I've hated this guy. Not really hated, but in terms of fantasy, hated this guy for a long time. James Conner against Kansas City. Arizona's a 6-point underdog.
No.
I don't think James Conner is going to play this whole game. I think that either Eno Benjamin or Darrell Williams comes out and plays the Edmonds light role. I think that James Conner is going to get a little exposed. Did you know in games where he did not score a touchdown, he averaged under 8 points per game?
Sounds about right.
So you're essentially hoping he falls in the end zone here. I just don't. This game's going to be high tempo. It's going to be a shootout. I just don't think Arizona can afford to plod their way through it with James Conner. Kyler Murray's a better runner. Not that you want to run him 20 times. But there's also a little bit of injury concern there with James Conner at some point. And obviously you're not projecting injuries on like any one game, but that's always got to be in the back of your mind. And where you drafted him, hopefully, would mean that you have a Chase Edmonds or a Dameon Pierce or someone, Rashad Penny, someone who can step in and play in that spot for now and kind of wait out this James Conner thing. In positive game scripts, I'm totally fine with them. But in game scripts like what they're going to have Sunday, most likely, I don't want any part of that.
Yeah, the thing with James Conner is he couldn't have found a better place to fall than Arizona. And the truth is, you're right, Kyler Murray is a better runner. We all know that. But they have, sadly, I think James Conner is kind of like the fall guy. They have him take the ass whooping. They have him run those nasty 1-yard runs on the goal line just so that Kyler doesn't have to. And yeah, so my thought is the same as yours. I think the injuries are always going to be a concern. And you're also right in the fact that the positive game script can play a lot into that for him. This isn't going to be that though. This is going to be. I mean, he'll start the game, he'll play, but as soon as they go down 7, we might not see him again. He might not even have to shower after this one. Because I think it's going to be just that. It's going to, it's going to get out of hand probably pretty quickly for him because their defense isn't spectacular. He's going to have the night off, bro.
Yeah. All right, real quick to finish up. The largest spread in the NFL Week 1 as of Saturday night at 9:42, Colts minus 7.5 against the Texans. Where do you sit? Would you go Texans plus 7.5 or Colts minus 7.5?
I'd go. I mean, I'm not an idiot. I'm a fan, not a dumbass. I'd probably go Colts 7.5. I think them winning that by 10 is definitely realistic, but I don't think it's as bad as everybody else does. I think they'll put up a fight. Ultimately, I think our defense will lose that one for us because we have a lot of rookies in the secondary. We got Jalen Petrie, we got Derek Stingley, great players, but this is their first NFL game. Didn't really play a whole hell of a lot in the preseason either. I think it's going to be a good Michael Pittman week. I think Matt Ryan's going to do what the last 7 Colts quarterbacks over the last 7 years couldn't. He's a little bit more groomed than all those other guys. So, yeah, I mean, I'll take that Colts line. It's I don't see how the Colts beating the Texans is more likely than the Jets beating or the Ravens beating the Jets. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Oh, it's funny to see how the public bets. I like to make my bets early in the week, like Monday. And then I'll kind of readjust, like, as we get closer. Like, I already hit I'm not doing anymore until tomorrow. But it's funny to see the line movement. The Browns are now the Browns are favored by 1.5, and the Panthers are plus 1.5. Earlier, that was like 3.5. No, earlier the Panthers were favored, so that's really shifted. Yeah, that's interesting. In all fairness, we'll end on this. I'll be fair. We talked about your team. I have some money on the Dolphins minus 3.5. Weird shit goes on in Miami every year.
I don't think I'd bet the spread on that one. I don't think I'd bet the spread on the Dolphins game. I think it'll be close, but yeah, I think the Dolphins will win that. Personally.
I do too. Pretty handedly. All right, Kate, anything else?
Let's go make your money.
All right, we're here. We made it. We will see you guys with the waiver show early in the week. Have a good night.